What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And today we're talking about the Tomorrow War. The Tomorrow War. Or Tomorrow War. Is it the? Is it there is the? I always do this. Is there a the? I don't know. The Tomorrow War, for sure. Directed by Chris McKay and starring Chris Pratt. As far as I know, I don't think this had a theatrical release. I think it was just...
One Man's Opinion. I'm you from the future. Not that future. I've come to tell you about the war. We gotta have you. We're bringing you back. You're coming with me.
What?
No, yeah, you gotta come with me.
No, I don't want to...
Here, I'm gonna... Alright, now
I don't want to go.
You're coming with me, come on. Here we go. See you on the other side.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to One Man's Opinion. And you already know, today we're talking about the Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt and all that stuff. I already said that, because I had to, go to the future and help out with some stuff. And then, now I'm back. So, let's talk about this movie a little bit. I didn't know what to think going into it, honestly, because... I like Chris Pratt. I like him a lot. So I was very hopeful going in. I want it to be good, if nothing else, for him. And so I went in with high hopes. And by the way, I think this movie's only on Amazon Prime. Did I say that before I got taken to the future? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's only on Amazon Prime, or at least that's where I saw it. I typically go into the negatives first when I'm doing these reviews, so that's where we'll start. And I will say, out of the gate, it's not a movie that's full of a lot of negatives for me. And it doesn't have any glaring negatives. There was no part of the movie that I was just like, this sucks. Or, this is boring. Or, I don't like this. There were a lot of, small nitpicky things where it was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Or, I don't know why they made that decision. Little things. But nothing major. So, here's my small list of little bitty things that bothered me throughout the film. But... other than that, I don't have any complaints. Number one, at the beginning of the movie, and by the way, I'm going to talk about a few spoilers. I'm not going to talk about any, major spoilers here. But there might be some minor spoilers throughout. Just a heads up, I don't think it'll be anything that's going to ruin your viewing experience. At the beginning of the movie, when the people from the future, I'm assuming you've at least seen the trailer. If you don't know... movie's about basically a war that happens between humans, mankind, versus aliens. Essentially, aliens come out of nowhere, they invade the planet, mankind is losing, they're dying, and so they build a time machine, they go to the past 30 some odd years or something like that. They recruit people who are already dead in the future to come back and help them with the past. They have to get people that are already dead so it doesn't create a time paradox, that old chestnut. Essentially, at the beginning of the movie, the people from the future show up during a soccer game. This woman walks out on the field, this soccer field, in front of several thousand people watching this game, and is just explaining what's going on. I'm here from the future, we need your help, don't be alarmed. The only thing that bothers me about that is, you're on a soccer field surrounded by thousands of screaming people, many of whom are panicking because you just walked out of a wormhole with 50 other armed men. It looks like an invasion. I'm sure half the stadium is probably emptying out. No one's going to hear a word you're saying. The whole time she was talking, I was like, who gave this woman a microphone? How can anyone hear her, much less hear her through the live broadcast on TV? That was, like I said, they're little things. Just little continuity, I guess. Things that just didn't quite make sense. Another thing that I didn't really like, and this is a little bit of a gripe, it does that thing at the very beginning of the movie where, it shows you something that's going to happen later in the movie. So, the movie opens up in the middle of something happening, and you've seen it on the trailers. If you've seen the trailers, this is not a spoiler. Essentially, you have a bunch of people, Chris Pratt included, falling out of the sky into a swimming pool on top of a skyscraper in the middle of Miami, if that paints you a picture. And it's all this apocalyptic, everything's on fire, and it's Chris Pratt and his team coming through the wormhole to help fight against the aliens. But the wormhole has a malfunction, and it drops them out of the sky. Chris Pratt is literally in the clouds, no parachute, and falls, I don't know how many hundreds of feet he falls before he hits this little bitty swimming pool on top of a skyscraper and he's just fine. And it's like, there's really graphic death scenes where people are like bouncing off of the side of skyscrapers and they're dying because of this wormhole malfunction thing that happened, which I thought was a really cool scene, but it takes you out of it when somebody falls such a long way and hits this little bitty pool, and it's like, no, they're fine. No, they certainly didn't die on impact with the water, and they certainly didn't fall into the water, through the water, and hit the concrete floor of the swimming pool and at least paralyze themselves from the waist down. I'm sure that didn't happen. Not to mention, there's like, I don't know, I'm going to say probably 12 to 15 other people that also land in the pool, and like even at one point, Chris Pratt gets hit by another falling human being. Do you know how much weight that is? Like, it was just so unbelievable. I'm like, why, if you're going to put that in a movie where they had this horrible thing where, like, the majority of the team's wiped out right on entry, and now they've got this small team where they've got to go and they've got to rescue these research people. That's fine. I'm fine with the concept. I actually thought it was executed really well, all except for why start them so high when you know they're hitting terminal velocity? And, like, even if you survived the drop and you landed in this pool, if someone else falls on top of you, water is not going to save you. Like, that's a broke neck. You and that person are both dead. It's done because there's terminal velocity. Anyway, it took me completely out of the movie, and I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't mind the science fiction of it all, but grounded in a world of reality. Like, gravity still works the same on Earth wherever you're at. So, you know, just that part bothered me, maybe more than it should have. Other couple little things, the white spikes, which is what the aliens are called. The white spikes are animalistic. They're not hyper intelligent beings. They're driven by hunger. They just want to eat, you know. It's just like a wild animal. They're just looking for their next meal, and they're extremely powerful, extremely fast. They're really cool design, but what I'm saying with all this is there's so many ways to fight a creature like that. The thought of that sort of being annihilating everyone on the face of the earth is laughable. It just could never happen. There's so many ways to avoid that happening. It's the reason man's at the top of the food chain. It's the reason we're here now, is because there's too many ways to outsmart that, you know, whether it's leaving meat out, you know, so that you draw the animals in and then you just gun them down. The easiest thing is they don't fly. So, like, the Air Force would destroy these guys. We would have choppers in the air and jets, and that would be the end of it. You mount a 50 cal on a chopper, and it's done. The fight is over. And there's even a part in the movie where that's happening. They're all loading up on a helicopter. They're trying to get out of there. And it's just like, why do they not have a 50 cal mounted on that helicopter? Why is there nothing mounted on that bird? Because it's so easy to just... They can't get to you. Don't fly too close to, like, a mountainside so that they can't climb up and jump, you know. Don't get too close to the tree line and just mow them down. It's too easy. And so that part... They are menacing. They are. I think the design of the creature is intelligent as far as, like, showing the audience that they are dangerous. They're certainly dangerous, and, like, some of the really good scenes are when they're in tight quarters with these creatures. When you first see one for the first time, and they're in that research laboratory building, and there's so many of them up in the stairwell, and it's like, okay, it's claustrophobic, it's tight, they're coming down quick, you know, and people are trying to descend the staircase, you know, before they get overrun. That's good, you know. It's that claustrophobic, like, there's nothing you can do there. And so it makes sense. They're intimidating. But when you really think about it on the grand scheme of things, like, there's no way, like, world governments are falling to something that's not as intelligent as humans are. It's just, it could never happen. I don't believe it. The only way it would even have a chance of happening is if there were trillions. There would have to be trillions of these things. They would have to outnumber us. That's the only way. That was one of my other major gripes. My final gripe, and I won't say too much here because it contains a pretty big spoiler. There comes a time where essentially Chris Pratt can save someone or he can finish the mission, and he doesn't even really have a choice. And I have to walk on eggshells here because I really don't want to spoil this for you. He really doesn't even have a choice due to the design of how the time travel mechanism, that little machine that they wear, due to how it works. He doesn't have a choice as to what's going to happen. At a certain point in time, he's going to be pulled back to the present anyway. he knows he can't save this person. He knows he's about to be pulled back to the past, and he still like dives into what is basically a pit of these monsters to try to save that person. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. And like, he is very close with this person. It is someone that he cares about. And so I understand that from like a human to human connection, a personal level. Like, I get the desire to try to save that person, but realistically, because of the circumstances, and I won't say anymore, because of the circumstances, there is literally zero chance that he could save this person. He could only kill himself in the process. Literally, the fate of the entire world hinged on this moment, and had he not been pulled to the past, everything would have been for nothing. Because he throws his life away and the life of the world away trying to save one person who literally could not be saved, and he could only stand to die with that person. That kind of thinking just doesn't make sense. I know that there's a part of everybody who would want to save someone that they cared about, but in that specific situation, I don't know anybody who would make that decision where it's like, I can't save them. They're essentially dead already, but I'm gonna dive in too, because why not? Like, he still has a wife and kid at home. Like, he still has people that are that close, at least to him at home. There's no reason why he would have done it. And so, just little things. Again, nothing major, and I don't want y'all to think that like I'm hating on this movie too bad, but you know, little things that I felt like needed to be pointed out. Let's talk about the positives. The positives, I like Chris Pratt a lot. Also, Yvonne Strahovski, who I know I'm probably not getting her name right. She's really good in this movie, and I won't say who she plays either because it's a little bit spoilery. I thought, having never seen her, not recognizing her really from anything, as I watched this movie, I was like, wow, she's doing a really good job. J.K. Simmons, as always, is phenomenal. He's not in just a whole lot of the movie, but he's really good. And Sam Richardson, who is always, he always just tickles me. I don't know, whatever he does, he's always kind of the same character. Like, he always has the same like sense of humor. Every movie I've seen him in, anyway, he kind of always plays the same character, but I like that character. I like the one character that he plays. He always kind of just tickles me. It's the way he talks, the way he has this sense of humor that just really gets me. I enjoyed him a lot. The cast, I thought, did a really good job with the movie. I think the movie is fun, and I think it's a good action film. It's a good action film. It's a good sci-fi film. I really want to applaud the design of the aliens, the white spikes. They're really cool, and it's far enough away from like Alien. You know, it's far enough away from Predator. It's truly its own extraterrestrial creature. I really like the design. I thought it was menacing. I thought the design was frightening. I thought it was, you know, it was the type of creature that if you ran into in real life, yeah, you'd be horrified. And the clicking, the kind of sound that they made was a good noise. I wish we would have got more of that, though. At the very beginning of the movie, when you first run into the creatures, there are only a few in a building, and they're more like clicky and like kind of stalking a little bit. Like, it turns into like a chase, but still they're like more menacing that way. I wish that there hadn't been so many of them. I think making this like a global catastrophe was a mistake. I think it would have been better if like this would have started like in a lab somewhere maybe, and then there was an outbreak, and it was like this facility had fallen to these things, and they were about to get out, and if they got out, the world would be in danger. Maybe that's why you're pulling these. I don't know why you would pull people from the past for something like that. I don't know. I just wish maybe that there were a fewer number of them, and that the story was a little bit more personalized, because I think in the right setting, these creatures are really, they can be very scary and intimidating, but when you're just throwing like hundreds and hundreds of them, it becomes like a zombie thing. Like, it's mind-numbing, and they don't seem as intimidating because, you know, heroes are just blasting guns, you know, and they're going down, you know, and they don't seem as difficult. I wish they would have been tougher to kill, but maybe fewer in number. And I think they would have been a little more intimidating that way, but I love the design. I love the way they looked. I thought there was a lot of good here, and certainly an extraterrestrial alien creature that stands on its own, has its own unique design from things that we've seen a lot of in the past. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciated that a lot. Having said everything, I just want to say, because I can't talk too much, I'm trying not to spoil anything. I just want to say I enjoyed the movie. It was a good time. It was a good popcorn film. You just sit down and kind of turn your brain off and watch it a little bit. This part of me, the guy who does these videos, is always going to nitpick those little bitty things. For the majority of the film, you know, it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. There's some really likable characters here, some that I haven't even mentioned, I haven't really talked about, top to bottom, and I thought it was smart. There were a lot of things, like the majority of the movie, I was like, a lot of things here don't make sense. A lot of things don't. But then, like, you keep watching and a lot of them get explained, and, like, there's a lot of questions answered. And I think for it being its own contained story, you know, we're so spoiled. And I've said this with other movies, and this will be the last thing I say. With other movies, I've made this comparison, but with, like, Marvel movies and even movies that are based on books and that sort of thing, and this, as far as I know, isn't based on a book. It very well may be based on a book or some sort of other property. But we're so spoiled because we get, like, Marvel movies all the time, and, like, one movie feeds into the next, and this movie feeds into that one, and it all builds for one giant story so that one movie doesn't have to do all the explaining. You already know if you've seen the other movie. So it doesn't have to take time to set up this world. It doesn't have to take time to explain things because it's been explained in other movies. And that gives the movie more time to just get to the action, to just get to character building and those touching moments, and all of that stuff is easier to do because you've already laid all the groundwork in another film. And it's very easy to watch a movie that doesn't have that kind of groundwork laid for it and say, man, there's a lot of exposition here. They're just, oh man, characters after characters just telling us what's going on in the world. I get sick of listening to, you know, people just talk. But really, it has to do that, you know. Don't become spoiled by watching, you know, some of these movies that are based on books or based on, you know, television series where they don't have to do as much explaining. This movie uses its exposition in an intelligent way. It tells the story well. It doesn't take too much time to do it. It answers the questions that you have. Is it all perfect? No, but time travel never is. There's never a story, even when Marvel did it or whoever it was, Back to the Future, whatever, there's never been a time travel story told that there wasn't at least some sort of minor plot hole. Well, why couldn't they have just done this? Why couldn't they have just done this? Because we don't understand time travel. First of all, there are a lot of theories on it. We don't know exactly how it would work. And so there's always going to be holes to punch in something that's that science fiction. And so, you know, don't get caught up in that sort of nitpicking when you watch this movie. Enjoy the movie. Have a good time. There are laughs. There's action. They go for some tear-jerker moments. They go for some heartfelt moments. I don't know that all of them land super well, but, you know, I think it's a full film, and I think that's where I want to leave this. I think it is it's a full film. It's got a little bit of everything in it. I think they did the best they could with it. It's a good story, and to be honest, I enjoyed the movie. Oh, there was one part. Right before I give my rating, there was one part that was just super awesome. This might be a minor spoiler. It's not even really. It's not even really a spoiler. Basically, though, one of the White Spikes is like chasing down a dude and like jumps, and Chris Pratt is on a snowmobile, and I don't even know where he ramped from, but he just comes flying into screen off a snowmobile and just completely T-bones this White Spike with the snowmobile. It was just one of the coolest things. It was such a... and it just knocked him. I don't know. It was really awesome scene. I just loved that. When it happened, I was like, "Oh, that was awesome." That was one of those action moments that you get in action movies where you're just like, "Oh yeah, that was well done, very good." Anyway, I say all that to say the movie's not perfect, but it's a very enjoyable film. I'm giving The Tomorrow War an 85 overall. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. Go down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the movie. Let me know what you thought about the review. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. I'm growing slowly, but we are growing at least some. Every few days, I get another subscriber. So, you know, we're coming along, and I can't do it without you guys. So thank you all so much. I hope this didn't upset you. Maybe I didn't throw too many spoilers out there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you didn't, don't get mad. Remember, this is just one man's opinion.